Hello, everybody. Um, Thank you to everyone I met this past week. It has been so busy as I have been visiting Rotary clubs and volunteering in local schools. Also, I'm working in the office and coordinating a Jewish-Palestinian tour for Jerusalem when I return. I also want to thank Chris for taking me out to dinner and then for a fun night at the city council. Oh, that was a pleasure. So 3 years ago, being a 15-year-old ultra-Orthodox Jewish girl, if you had told me I would be standing here and talking to you, I probably laughed. And let me tell you why. My father lived in a settlement, which is a civilian community settled by Israeli citizens, built predominantly within Palestinian territories. Living in a settlement is being surrounded by the military. Living in a settlement is driving a bullet and stone-proof vehicle. Living in a settlement is to run fearfully to the nearest house because there is an alarm, warns the infiltration of terrorists. I was taught that peace will never be possible, and hatred is the way. And now, an 18-year-old, confident woman is standing here and showing you a glimpse of what I have been doing for the past 3 years. And I don't want you to think it was easy. It was so hard. But then, I'm so happy with who I am today, and I'm so thankful for my process and my change. So first, I want to thank you for having me today, and thank you for being part of my growth process. I chose to become a non-Orthodox because of how orthodoxy is the gay community, or should I say, how it hates the gay community. I became non-Orthodox after my rabbitin, which is a girl rabbi. She told me I can't be a doctor because I'm an ultra-Orthodox, and of course, a woman. I became non-Orthodox because I don't want to live my life by rules. I want to be free. I want to explore, and I want my own story. Also, one day I just became tired of saying, we will never have peace with the Palestinians, or that I just hate Arabs. It feels that in Israel, sometimes it's all what you hear, and my heart could not take it anymore. So when I was 15, I began to go to Leobek, which is a Jewish Reform high school in Haifa. This is when I started my journey, to become a better human being, I call it. In Leobek, we have tons of delegations. You literally can go anywhere. Taiwan, Australia, Mexico, Argentina, Switzerland, and like 6 different delegations to Germany. My friend told me that all they do in Germany is to drink beer. Maybe Mr. Sullivan will like it, but so just to be clear, Francois seemed to be one of many delegations. But instead of going to Switzerland, you'll come here to New England. But one thing that was different about Francois is the fact that after the 2 weeks, you have to commit for 8 meetings, give your book, and that's all. And they didn't say it might change your life, and they didn't say you might become a different person. They just ask you to take responsibility, and that you know it's not a holiday. I remember calling to my friend, telling her I'm going to apply to Friends Forever, because it's something that I will never be able to do again in my life. So, in 2016, I applied, and I was accepted. And the levels of excitement get higher and higher. Well, until the Go Building seminar, and then the period of time before the arrival to the US. For any of you who don't know, Friends Forever has 3 phases. The first one is the Go Building phase, before the arrival to the US. The second one is the skill building phase, which is the 2 weeks here in America. And the second one is the community building phase, which is the social action project. The Go building seminar is an overnight seminar happening about 2 months before the skill building phase, which is the 2 weeks in America. The seminar is for all teens from Israel who are going to the US. Mostly it's about getting to know your group, while learning to work together while preparing mentally to the skill building phase with the help of alumni trainers. So let me tell you what happened in my group building seminar, and Steve will be my witness. I was afraid. I was terrified. When I heard the alumni trainers' stories, I suddenly understood what it takes to live in one house, 5 Arabs and 5 Jews, and to go through such a big process. Cooking, cleaning, sleeping together, public speaking, no cell phones. I even thought about canceling my trip. I truly thought I wasn't a good fit for this program. But then I reminded myself, I want to become a better human being. And I know a better human being needs some courage and some experience too. So I decided, that's it, and I'm going. So what hasn't been said about the 2 weeks in the US? Crazy, amazing, meaningful, inspiring, very tiring, and life-changing. I'm sure you have heard them all. And my 2 weeks started very slow. Me being anxious previous to arrival wasn't going to be superior all of a sudden. At first, I didn't trust anyone. I had a feeling that friends were even trying to convert me, and not for my religion, but for my mindset. In the skill building phase, friends takes you out of your comfort zone. You get to deal with situations you never dealt with before. You get to see the whole picture from another perspective, out of your country, and next to positive people who encourage you to take action. You learn listening and understanding. You learn empathy and resilience and get to use those skills while facing difficulties within your group. You're getting to know your group deeply while getting to know yourself. And it wasn't about the peace process between the Palestinians and the Israelis. It was more about the peace process within yourself. And right before I left the farmhouse, which is the house my group and I were staying at, I understood something. I understood something was changed, and I'm not the same norm I was 2 weeks ago. I was excited about what's going to come next. When returning to Israel, my group and I, as part of the community building phase, chose for a social action project to renew, with Friends Forever Help and Founding, an after-school daycare for kids who come from an extremely low economic situation and their parents can take care of them. Helping these kids who don't get enough attention from the world and are thrilled to see you coming to change a little bit of their tough daily life make me feel happy. The kind of happiness that makes you feel your heart beating. And when we finished the social action project and the aid meetings, I became an official Friends Forever alumna. People think Friends Forever ends after the first year. In reality, it is just beginning. For me, being Friends Forever alumna is about how you take all your experiences from Friends Forever and life in general and becoming a woman who motivates people. Becoming a woman who has the power to impact others in a positive way. Becoming a woman who knows what it takes to change society and excited about working for it. Once I understood, Friends Forever gave me the tools taken to be the change that I wanted to see in the world. I decided to take it with both hands. Since being an alumna, I'm running workshops for the international delegations who comes to Leobec High School. I served as a counselor at a youth camp in Santa Barbara, and I teach math and English at Roof Center for empowering youth at risk in Western Haifa. I'm also an active member of the Friends Forever International Alumni Movement. Yeah, we deserve it. And I was a group building seminar trainer for the teams coming this seminar. You know, after I found Friends Forever somehow managed to change me, I was interested in the process of how to take teenagers through a life-changing experience when some of them may came only not because they wanted to change themselves or the world. They just wanted a trip to the US. I think what's happening is that no matter if you want or not, you get to experience things in the skill building phase that makes you vulnerable and makes you exposed. You are forced to talk about your feelings and forced to get out of your safe and convenient place. That's why, even though some kids come to Friends Forever only because of shallow reasons, they ended up finding themselves surrounded by encouragements to open up more, encouragements to feel more, and encouragements to experience more. That's why in the last Middle East alumni seminar, I facilitated a workshop about oxytocin, and I would like to share some of it with you. So, oxytocin released in our bodies is a feedback to our behavior. But not just any behavior, only behavior that we were taught in our education. I mean, our culture. Oxytocin will be released only if we act the way our brain thinks is right, according to a most deep-rooted mindset. When released, oxytocin makes us feel comfortable, calm, and confident. For example, if I was educated to hate, and then I hate, so oxytocin will be released, making me feel good. And in contrary, if I was educated to love others, and then I love them, oxytocin will be released, making me feel great. It means, if I wasn't educated to be a loving and accepting human being, I would have to change myself, literally to the deepest levels, into my chemistry, in order to change my character and my mindset. And this change takes a process. By the way, did you know that another way to make oxytocin to release in our bodies is hugging? So, a little bit of, I want to ask you to hug the people next to you, to your right and to your left. Don't be ashamed, don't be embarrassed. Yes, let's hug. Thank you. Don't be embarrassed. They hugged. Yeah, they did it? Okay. You guys, I saw. Yeah, you were brave. Okay. Well, thank you for collaborating with me. And I'm sure now you feel your oxytocin runs through your blood and you feel like more better. And after the 2 weeks in the US, I discovered my mindset has changed. I discovered that I changed from not believing in peace at all to a peace worker. After living part-time in a settlement, going for a rock-throwing attack on a bus, which fueled my hatred and belief that Arabs want to kill me. People ask me if being changed affected my relationship with my father. We don't really communicate home, and we actually grew apart. Because Friends Forever changed me, and changed me to my chemistry. And how do I know that? Because before, oxytocin was released in my body after I said, we will never have peace, or you can't possibly talk to Palestinians, or they actually want me there. This is how I was raised. But now, when I see a Palestinian, I don't feel fear. I feel hope that I have a new friend. When I think about my role as a woman, I don't feel like I'm in prison. I feel free. When I speak to all of you, with honesty and with all my heart, and I say, peace is possible, and I see us all in this room, and I know that we're all working for it, we're all doing it. I don't feel like a child with foolish dreams. I feel warmth and joy that lets me know that my change is complete. Because if peace is possible for me, then peace is possible for you, and peace is possible for everyone. Thank you.